I was in London a few months ago, and I went to attend an annual retreat for something called Camp Simcha. And one of my old friends there, a rabbi himself, is suffering very badly from cancer at the moment, but he should have a refuah shlema. And I went to see him. And he told me an incredible story. The story revolves around a chassid who went to see his Rebbe because he had a big problem. The problem was he had a temper, a terrible temper. I think the phrase is a rageaholic. And he simply couldn't control it. And when he lost his temper, there was no holding the fellow back, and he screamed and he shouted, and his wife suffered terribly as a consequence, and his children suffered terribly, and the people he worked with suffered terribly. And he regretted it the moment afterwards, but the damage had already been done, so he went to speak to his Rebbe to ask for advice. So the Rebbe listened very carefully as he told all his stories and all the terrible damage that his temper and anger has created. And after a few moments, the Rebbe said, "I'd like you to do me a favor. This is a big question. I want to give you the right answer. Go outside in the hallway, you'll find a seat outside my room in the hallway. Have a seat there for a few minutes. Let me think what's the best advice to give you." And the chassid nodded and went outside, and he sat down in the chair that was opposite the Rebbe's room. Meanwhile, the Rebbe's assistant, his shamus, saw the fellow was sitting outside and came in to ask the Rebbe, did he want a cup of tea or would he like a coffee? The Rebbe said, come here. And the shamus leant across the table. He said, that chassid of mine, the fellow sitting outside, he's come to me with a terrible problem. He's got an awful temper. I'd like to get a feel of exactly what the temper looks like, how bad it is. So when you go outside, provoke him. Get him to lose his temper. So the shamus, okay, the Rebbe said so. So out went the chassid, and he passed the fellow sitting in the chair, and he went into the kitchen, and he brought out a tray as though he was bringing the Rebbe a cup of coffee. There was a pot of coffee, boiling hot coffee on it, milk, sugar, cookies, the whole thing. And as he walked past the chassid, he pretended to trip, and he dropped the entire thing right into the lap of the chassid with a terrible temper. The chassid leapt up and said, don't worry, it could happen to anybody. Well, the shamus is failing in his duties, so he said, well, if you hadn't stuck your great big feet out, I wouldn't have tripped over them. Which he hadn't done. But the chassid said, you know what? You're quite right. I do have big feet. So the shamus gathers all the debris from the floor, puts it back in the train, comes into the Rebbe, who'd heard the whole thing anyway, and said, I tried. The Rebbe said, it doesn't matter. Out you go. And so out goes the shamus, in comes the chassid. The Rebbe said, are you okay? And he's still got milk stains and coffee all over his jacket. He said, yeah, I'm fine. Sit down. Are you sure you're okay? He said, yeah, I'm fine. He said, I heard the whole thing. And the chassid said, yeah. Forgive me, but you came to see me because you've got a terrible temper, yes? Yes. I didn't see much evidence just now of this terrible temper. And a little smile played on the lips of the chassid and said, well, to tell you the truth, Rebbe, I heard you telling the shamus that you should come out and get me to lose my temper. And the Rebbe said, as a matter of fact, to tell you the truth, I know you did. I meant you to hear me telling him to go out and get you to lose your temper. You see, you came to see me today because you think you've got a problem with your temper? No, you don't. You've got a problem with your emunah. You see, when you heard that me telling the shamus that this is what should happen, you were perfectly okay with it. If the Rebbe says that this is what happened, you understood there's a reason behind it. I wanted it to happen. I wanted to see your temper. You had no difficulty with that whatsoever, or being makabel what I said should happen at all. But when the real Rebbe, when Hashem Yisborach makes things go wrong in your life, that's not your reaction. You get angry. The problem is you understand it when it comes from me. You don't understand it when it comes from Hashem. You think you've got a problem with your temper? Not at all. You've got a problem with your emunah. A person can go through their entire life and not see themselves for who and what they really are. And therefore it's like somebody who's not well taking the wrong medicine. You'll never get yourself cured. That's why it's so essential to have a rabbi. Asa l'cho rav. And even though I've got thousands of shirim and I say them all over the world, I keep coming back to just one or two basic ideas. And that one, I think, is probably the most important of all. If you want to succeed in your own journey through life, you need somebody who's able to look at you from the outside and tell you what your real problems are and give you the prescription, the medicine that's going to solve that particular problem, so that you don't go through life understanding the wrong thing about yourself, but you understand the right thing about yourself and how to get it right. So getting yourself a rabbi, I think, is probably the most important Jewish teaching of all.